so far back I can't remember. It was like Monday meet. What was it?
Monday Raw.
Yeah, what was that?
Wrestling.
Thank you. We don't need to discuss it any further. I don't need to know. Karen! Woo! Oh. There you are, darling.
Come in here.
Yeah. I love all you guys so much. I'm going to tell you a lot of things, but I got to tell you the thing I was trying to tell you, so I'll do that instead. All right. I have so many feelings right now. When I went to visit my friend Margaret in the hospital, her family, because of our relationship, could have said any number of things to me. But the thing I didn't expect was for them to say, "Who are you?" They probably also didn't expect my reply, which was that Margaret Rose and I made friends on an Amtrak toilet seat. So, just like you, they needed more information. And so Margaret and I told them the story that I have for you, which begins the day before we met. It was the summer of 2009 when I acquired permanent nerve damage from a dance accident wherein I was pummeled by a whole human man. I had been spending the summer at an artist residency in Troy, New York, right around the corner, failing to get over a bad boyfriend that I've told you about before, but succeeding in making some bad art. And it was a very hot July, and at the after party of our final show, one young man took another one by his sweaty ankles and helicoptered that man until he lost his grip, and my soft middle caught him like a foul ball. To describe the pain would take all night, but suffice to say, I remember screeching urgently to be moved because I couldn't move, and I was very sure that the floor beneath me was on fire, which would have been a luckier situation because the burning sensation was actually coming from inside and would keep coming for months. I was carried very carefully to the hospital and sent away with 2 big dumb crutches and a bucket of Vicodin straight to the train station where I would board the train home to Chicago. I will never understand why I decided to board an overnight train in that condition. I was a train rider at the time, and if you're gonna do an overnight, I don't recommend coach, but if you are in coach, your next most critical decision is your seatmate. And that choice was not mine because I couldn't, stroll the aisles doing character assessments. So the man who helped me onto the train chose my seatmate for me and made us both very unhappy. Margaret Rose was in the window seat, and when she saw my crutches, she said, "Excuse me, if you put her there, how am I gonna get out?" And I, giving absolutely no fucks at the moment, just said, "It's all the same to you. I don't want to sit next to her either." We had no choice. So the first hour was pretty awkward, and then I decided to tell her about my evening because I wanted to make her feel bad about who she was as a person. She reluctantly offered to get me tea from the cafe car and climbed over my crutches to do it. And she did it with attitude, if I may add. I don't know how you do that with attitude, but I'd never seen someone so unmoved by another person's pain. But the tea, I knew, made me have to pee, and that required strategy because I couldn't do it while the train was moving. You don't really know what your core muscles do until they don't, but all of the muscles supporting my spine were seized, and I could not balance, I could not bend, I couldn't lift a glass. It was that acute. And so when I was planning my trip, and I noticed these the sliding doors on the train, I knew there was no way. So I asked Margaret if she'd open the door for me, and she did. And then she stood there and watched me, like, try to make my way down the aisle, which took a while. And I could see that she didn't want to feel anything about it. But when I got there, we looked each other in the eye for the first time, because we'd been side by side. And I said, "Thank you." And she said, "Wait, how are you gonna?" And I went, "Oh God." I hadn't thought that far ahead. She goes, "Do you want me to?" "Oh God." She said, "I can do it. I don't care. It's fine." I said, "Oh God, I think I need to." And then we wobbled into the bathroom together, and I tried to steady myself, and she was like, "Okay, are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm okay. Yeah, are you okay? Well, I'm fine. No, it's fine. I'm fine. No, you're okay. I'm fine. Okay, I'm gonna lift up your shirt. Is that okay if I lift? Yeah, you can. Okay, yeah, you can do it." She's like, "Where's your zipper?" I'm like, "No, it's just elastic." She's okay. I'm gonna pull them down then. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, but I'm gonna pull now. Is it okay?" I'm like, "Ow, ow!" She's like, "Oh, sorry." I'm like, "No, I'm sorry." "Oh, okay, it's fine. It's all right." So I'm just gonna, which is how this grumpy grump face ended up eye level with my crotch, holding my panties at my ankles while we laughed our asses off, which was the only way through it. Margaret took care of me all night. She even she put a little alarm on her phone to give me my Vicodin every 4 hours, which, while indicated on the bottle, is way too much Vicodin. And we didn't sleep. I couldn't sleep, and she had no choice, and I was high as fuck. I told her about the accident and my bad boyfriend and my whole life, and how worried I was that my body would be ruined forever. The next day, which was August 1st, we said goodbye in Chicago, and she went on to her home in Milwaukee and sent me an email the minute she walked in the door. Margaret and I wrote to each other for years. When I looked at the emails to prepare for this story, I found hundreds of them. Some days there were dozens where we were just volleying back and forth about family stuff and church things, gospel videos, grocery delivery services, the books we read and the books we vowed to write. We had inside jokes and really deep shorthand. We often signed off Red Velvet Cake, because once when she was going through something really hard, she told me that when all is lost, at least there's red velvet cake. We wrote in the middle of the night when we couldn't sleep and would stay up together recounting our dreams and our worries. Margaret would get really excited when she would notice patterns in numbers and dates, and there was this one ecstatic email that I forgot before I was reading them, where she wrote on 12/21, on 12/22, and she was like, "Oh my God, it's all ones and twos." And then I totally one-upped her with the photo of a receipt of an $11.11 purchase at 11:11 a.m. on November 11th, and she was like, "Holy shit, what do you think it means?" And I said, and I believe, I only think it ever means one thing, which is to pay attention, because miracles are everywhere. It was a weird thing we had. She complained a lot about her health, but she was 60, and that's when people start doing that, so I kind of ignored her with this sort of lukewarm sympathy. We both had kind of cold, cruel Southern mothers, which made us weird about caretaking, and we wanted love but couldn't really receive it, and we would be warm or cold kind of at random, but we were fiercely loyal to anyone who showed the slightest disinterest, which is actually how we bonded. We were also both, as adults, mercifully taken in by chosen mothers who kind of loved us against our will. And Margaret's chosen mother was Shirley, and when Shirley died, I was Margaret's first call. Margaret was devastated, and I didn't really know how to comfort her, but I found myself saying that I think the process, the experience of losing one's elders is itself the initiation into elderhood. when you don't have anyone to ask, when you don't have anyone to go to, you start to rely on your own strength. And I listened to Margaret become an elder that year, when she started to trust herself and started to feel safe enough to be kind. But she also got old fast. She aged like a time-lapse video. She was telling me all the time that she was out of breath, and I felt like she was at the doctor every week. Another July 31st, 2 years later, I was headed back to the artist residency, and Margaret and I decided to go together. So her sons live in Albany, and she splurged on a sleeper car for us both with bunk beds, and I took the top, she took the bottom. It was a tiny one, and I don't know if you've been on the Amtrak, but it's the one with the toilet that's right next to the bed, which I didn't really want to use that close to her face, but she reminded me, wouldn't be the first time. That night she told me that she was diagnosed with an incurable pulmonary lung disease. And she was worried about how she'd spend the time that she had left. We stayed up all night again, but this time she was on Life Story and I was on tea and pain relievers. She came to my art show the next week and she brought her son, who was the one to email me when Margaret decided to stop her treatment. I got on a train from Chicago to Milwaukee the next morning and went there to find her surrounded by her family, who were all completely stunned that Margaret had a secret best friend half her age. And we told them our story and we laughed as much as we did the first time. And then she said kind of sweetly that we'd take another train trip together once she got better, as if we both didn't know that she wouldn't. And I was kind of confused, but then I realized that she was finally trying to ease my pain. So I returned the favor. I knew that she would love it, and I told her that, well, I noted that that day was July 31st, the day that we met, 3 years earlier. And on August 1st of 2012, Margaret made me an elder. And I don't know what it means that we spent 3 July 31st together over 3 years, but I'm paying attention because there are miracles everywhere. And when they're hard to find, there's red velvet cake. Do you guys like red velvet cake? Because I brought red velvet cake for everybody. It's not a bribe, but I have some for you and we'll pass it out. Thanks.